Welcome to the Speakeasy podcast. I am so excited for our special guest, April Toms. She's the VP of IT Talent Acquisition at Davis Technology Management. With over 2 decades in IT recruiting and account management, April excels in staffing roles for AI, machine learning, cybersecurity, or anything IT. Her passion for AI keeps her at the forefront of the industry trends. She's active in her community, active in conferences. And I am so excited to learn from her and her evolution into being a people leader within the talent acquisition space. So without further ado, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks so much, Daniel. I hope I live up to everything you just said.
I love it. What are you currently doing right now? And get the listeners up to speed.
So my whole life is agency IT recruiting, mostly within the startup world, except for about 8 years I was with Kelly IT, big Robert Half competitor, and loved it. I loved the corporate world, all of the connections that I made. Besides Kelly, everywhere that I've been, I've always been the first recruiter in the door to like build up the team and come up with the processes and the procedures, everything from scratch on my own.
As an agency recruiter, you have to pivot, learn new skills, transfer your skills from account management to recruiting to sourcing to leadership. How has it propelled you to be a people leader?
2020, our whole team, including management, was laid off because March 2020, pandemic, COVID, we got laid off. And I ramped up my own agency for myself, just solopreneur, and did that for 2 years. Had already been thinking about it.
What recommendations would you tell that audience on how to pivot?
This has been a subject I've been thinking about for a while. For a long time, I was trying to keep up with all the new recruiting tools, all the AI tools that were coming out, and it just got impossible. I've talked a little bit with you about is not all of us are going to be able to have recruiting and sourcing jobs, in 2 to 5 years. What are we all going to do? With all the tools that are coming out now and making so many parts of our jobs so much easier, where's everyone going to go? What are we going to do? So I've been putting a lot of thought into how can recruiters and sourcers pivot to something new completely outside of this industry. After I started thinking about this, I saw within the last couple of weeks in a Reddit thread, in the recruiting subreddit and recruiting hell subreddit that I follow a lot, there have been several threads recently about I'm a recruiter, how can I get out? These are the only skills I have. I don't know what to do. And there would just be tons of comments under each one like same. What can I do? This is all I know. And I thought this is a good time where we need to start having these conversations, and somebody needs to start talking about what can people within our industry. And a lot of these, granted, seem to be recruiters when they're putting their experience out there. The junior just been in for 1, 3, 5 years. We're saying, I'm not sure what to do. What other skills can I have? So maybe I may be talking more to, a junior to mid-level audience when I'm talking about pivoting careers, but there's so much transferable skills that we have that we've developed through the years that we can pivot into.
Let's talk about those transferable skills, whether you want to stay within the industry or pivot outside of the industry. What does a recruiter, a sourcer, somebody in recruiting, what are those transferable skills that come to mind?
Yeah, I was just brainstorming, just putting a whole bunch of stuff to pen and pencil recently, like what can we do? What are we good at? One of the first things that came to mind, and maybe because I'm interested in the field, is working with a lot of data. If you're good with the money and enjoy that side of it, or good with numbers, anything finance related. So think about starting to network in those areas with finance, even like data intelligence, which could evolve into BI, business intelligence types roles. I'm really interested in data type roles. So I actually have this pulled up right now for myself specifically. And I was talking to Eric, our founder, about this. It's an IBM course. It's IBM Data Science Professional Certificate. So this is actually something I'm looking at for myself because I realize that the finance, the money, the numbers and things that we work with could transfer into something data related. So this is a course that says it's beginner level. You learn entry level Python scripting or SQL scripting, which is super helpful if you want to pivot into something data or financial related. And it says that it will take you just 10 hours a week for about 5 months and you can get the certificate. So it's something I'm seriously looking into that I never in a million years thought I would be saying, I want to look at a programming skills or development skill. I've never been interested before. Well, I am now because, I don't know what our jobs are going to look like 5 years from now. Within HR, any other HR analyst, HR compensation analyst type of positions.
What would you
And
recommend somebody that wants to stay within the industry, maybe but a different type of role? How would you approach that? How would you pivot? And how do they get set up for success transitioning?
within your company, there are marketing type of positions, like maybe you're interested in the SEO or the branding type of positions, even project management. We've got to have exceptional project management skills. So maybe there's something PM related or coordinator. If you're wanting to stay within the industry, someone that's done it, someone that you can, hey, can I bend your ear? Can I put a meeting on the calendar for an hour and talk? And can you talk me through what certifications might I need? So, like in HR, if you wanted to pivot to HR, go towards a SHRM certification. I've heard it's really tricky and it's really challenging. It's not something you can just go take. So, talk to someone before you jump into something like that. Then just research the job market on and trying to find out what kind of jobs are still going to be here 2 to 5 years from now. Um, just I would say talk to your network. Even start personal branding yourself out on LinkedIn and getting out there, speaking up and maybe creating content or some material about what you want to do, what you're interested in. Maybe write an article or publish your own article or your something on LinkedIn, even a poll, about the market and what are some good different areas to pivot into that are of interest to your background.
So you recruit, you source every single day. Is there any specific tools that you utilize, and how has it impacted your business?
Hire Easy for sure. And not just because I'm on your podcast, but it is something I've been using so I cut, I was so happy to cut full LinkedIn recruiter. I've paid for it forever, the full seat, even when I had my own agency, thousands and thousands of dollars. And when I don't even know how I discovered Hire Easy, but cut LinkedIn Recruiter out completely, only use Hire Easy. I love it. I love the whole platform, and you guys are always adding features and making things easier for our lives. So, number one, Hire Easy.
Wait, did you
Those
just say that you cut LinkedIn completely? I thought that was a no-go. Walk me through that experience. Like, I think in recruiting, I have to have LinkedIn Recruiter, but finding those people that said, actually, I can operate efficiently without the costs of LinkedIn Recruiter and the impact has been greater. Walk us through that leap. Walk me through that experience.
Yeah, there's two reasons why I did it. One is because the expense, and usually whoever I worked for, they were paying for it. I had to have LinkedIn Recruiter or I would die. And I would live and die on the LinkedIn Recruiter cost or cause. I didn't have to pay for it, so I had to have it, and I was always allowed to have it. When I went to my own, had my own solopreneur, and then moved over to Davis, and we were bootstrapping here. Um, I put pen to paper and I was like, I could save thousands and thousands. Like I just did it. But the other reason I just did it was because in a whole bunch of recruiter groups, so many recruiters were saying, why are you still paying for LinkedIn Recruiter? And I followed those conversations for a couple of years and I kept thinking, man, if I could recruit without LinkedIn Recruiter and save so much money, and then I don't know how I think I kept hearing hire easy name. And so I just said, when I came over to Davis, like, I know how to save us 10 grand. And he was like, you better cut LinkedIn Recruiter. So we just cut it and I have not missed it. I will not pay for it again. I do the $50 a month. And I don't know what I get for 50 a month. I don't know if I need that. But I pay that, use Hire Easy for everything else because you guys pull more than just LinkedIn. It's pulling all the socials and stuff too that I can look at. I'm not a huge fan of massive campaigns where you're just spamming a lot of people. So that's not my thing. And I'm not trying to send out hundreds of messages on one search. So it's a lot more strategic so that the data that does come back, it matters because I'm only reaching out to a limited few people.
Do you like the real-time feedback on your campaigns and your engagement of saying who actually opened your email versus in the LinkedIn black hole, you never know if they actually saw it or not.
Oh, 1,000%. I'm addicted to that. I look all the time. Who's opened it? And even the bounce back in LinkedIn, you don't get any of that. So the data that comes back through Hire Easy is much more significant.
How does that data help you become a leader within TA?
I think messaging, like if a message, because I like to do A/B messaging, A/B testing on our messages, and then I can see with that data what's working, what's not working, and then adjust. Changing subject lines, messaging, whatever. So it's even better in that regard.
Let's just say somebody is wanting to pivot in a different type of role. Let's just say they've been a sorcerer their whole life and they want to pivot more on the recruiting end, or vice versa.
I do a ton of webinars. Even if I just put them on my calendar and have it running in the background, I always have so many webinars and trainings, especially for people that I like to follow. So, like I told you just recently that at Talent 42, I sat with Dean DaCosta. I've watched a million of his webinars. I've seen him in conferences. He is always throwing out sourcing. So, to speak to your example in particular, doing the sourcing type of role, he's definitely somebody to follow. Has a million different um, things that you can look at and use that he's put together. Erin Matthews has a lot of stuff out there. She's a good person to follow for sourcing. Steve, Uncle Steve, Steve Levy, he's great. There are so many people. Brian Fink, he's got a lot of good stuff. Mark Hamill, I love following his stuff. If you're going to get into sourcing and want to know how to get started, follow the right people, and then go to besides just webinars, there are so many free classes, online classes. So I know Hire Easy, you have your recruiting academy, and I'm sure I was looking at it. I've looked at it a few times, and there's sourcing stuff out there, so much stuff out there. So whenever I have recruiters that start with me on my team, I always have them start going through classes. There's a lot of good information, short 30-minute content. And then I'm a big fan of Coursera and Udemy, edX. These are all free online resources. Some of the stuff you can pay for. I mean, they do have paid options as well, but really good content for learning new skills. I'm in all those all the time.
When someone's interviewing, let's just say applying to a different type of role that they typically haven't been in, whether it's agency to in-house, in-house to agency, a different type of role, how does one convince the hiring team that I haven't done it before, but with my transferable skills, I would be a good candidate for the role?
Maybe show them some work that you've done. Maybe have an outline of courses that you've taken, the webinars you're signed up for. Show them what you're trying to do on the back end, and that you are serious in trying to get into that role, and that you're already proactively taking steps to move into that type of position.
I did it myself. I transitioned from being a recruiter and sourcer, switched over to more of the customer marketing team here at Hire Easy. Yes, it's still in recruiting, but it's a different type of role. And what I did was I created a whole slideshow presentation and proving that this is what I've done, this is what I've been doing, and this is how it's going to impact the business moving forward into the new role. And that's the recommendation I would give any type of recruiter, sourcer, anybody that's targeting a new role. Prove that you're doing the work on the front end that shows them that you can do the job that they're tasked to do. So
Well, and
super
you
interesting.
said the key thing. You said the key thing that I did not say is that the business impact. Show them how it has an impact on the business. That's going to get you in right there. If you show that
Sure.
you were.
You say, hey, recruiting might be changing and it's changing every single day. 2 to 5 years down the road, what's your projection on what the recruiting landscape is going to look like?
Well, so I saw this. I took a screenshot. It's a SourceCon poll, but it says, "Do you plan on staying in sourcing?" That was the whole question. 51% said, "Yes, I'll die a sourcer," which I checked for myself, but we'll see. And then 37% said it depends on if the market improves. And then 12% said, "No, I'm out of here." So there aren't that many that people that are saying, "I'm prepared and ready to get out of this industry and do something else," except, but again, that doesn't correlate with what I'm reading on Reddit and some other recruiting groups. I don't think that we're going to need as many recruiters and sources that we have right now. I think the market is completely oversaturated. We've got way too many in this space, and the more tools that come out to make our jobs easier and faster, the less of us that are going to be needed. I do think the ones that are going to go first are going to be the more junior people, and the ones that have a decade or more of experience already. We might be able to hold on to what we're doing. Just really based on experience, although there could be phenomenal, junior level people. But I think it would be easiest for the more junior to pivot and find something different while they can, because you haven't worked yourself up yet financially, really, to take a step back, completely recalibrate and do something different. So once you're getting past, especially once you're getting into management and you're getting past a decade or 15 years of experience, you're at a compensation level now that, for me, unless I'm financially already set and have a really good savings, I can't, take a huge financial step back to start in a junior position. Like I said, I'm interested in data, but for me to take a step back to an entry level data analyst position, I've got to have some significant savings while I'm trying to ramp back up the level again. So for a senior person, that's really scary and might be harder. For the more junior people, I would think it might be time to think, what else can you be doing, and start building your brand, building your content, studying things, connecting with the right people, watching the webinars, and seeing what else maybe you can do, because we're 2 years from now and definitely 5 years from now, we're not going to need all the recruiters that are and sources that are on the market right now.
It's interesting that you say that because, the impact of technology has reshaped how we approach recruiting from AI driven ATSs to social media sourcing to, chatbots to anything and everything within AI.
Yeah, definitely. Starting out in the conversation, I was saying I love the AI stuff. I want even this morning, I was telling Eric, our founder, that I really want to be in the recruiting, sourcing, AI, ML, data scientist, data analyst. I want to be in that space, stay in that space. It's stuff I love it. So, day one of me signing up for Chat GPT, which was early on, I did the paid version. I mean, I've been obsessed with all the tools. I've been following them, and it's a lot. It's overwhelming. Sometimes I log into LinkedIn and I'm in so many different kinds of AI groups. Like I can't even do it anymore. Like I don't even want to see this. Like click out of it. It's too much, but it's also exciting, and we can't bury our head in the sand. So you can't just say, I keep thinking when asking about speaking about different topics and AI, I think people are so burnt out on hearing AI this, AI everything, but it's not going anywhere. So we can't just walk away and say, my job is going to be the same as it has it been for the past however many years, because probably everyone's job on the planet is going to be affected by, artificial intelligence, generative AI. And if you aren't thinking about the longevity of what you can do past what your current role is, you're gonna be in trouble. But
Sometimes the best technology and tools are the relationships within our business, surrounding yourself with your networks, surrounding yourself with the mentors around. Who is those one couple people that come to mind that has impacted your career specifically, and why?
the first person who actually popped into my mind was Mike Wolford, the Recruiter AI book. I actually got to spend some good one time with him at Talent 42, and he's affected my career because of all things AI that he can talk to, and very intelligently. And he is far thinking into the future about the state of the market and our jobs and the tools. So super interesting. I follow what he says. I like what he's doing. I like what he has to say. So that's from an AI perspective. And again, from the sourcing side, like Aaron and Mark Hamill and Steve, all those people, and Dean DaCosta. I always trying to figure out what's going on in his brain and how he's doing what he's doing.
If you look at your whole career, you've done it all, had a ton of relationships, invested in yourself. Most importantly, what is the one thing that comes to mind that's the biggest accomplishment within your career?
I think my biggest accomplishment have been within the last couple of years, and it is not being heads down just doing my own thing and not wanting the spotlight on me, being scared to share knowledge. And so almost about 2 years ago now, I told my managers, bosses, friends, family, like, it is time for me to start, sharing knowledge, posting on LinkedIn, writing articles. So I would say the biggest accomplishment for me then is actually following through with that. And look, I'm on a Hire Easy's podcast now. 2 years ago, I would have said, no, thank you. Here's somebody else I recommend that can do that for you. And so I've raised my hand to be on stages and to do the different things. So that's big for me, just to start being more out there and in public now.
Love it. You take the leap of faith, you got vulnerable, and that's where the biggest impact tends to have those moments where you stretch yourself, those moments where you get vulnerable and you take a leap of faith and opportunities come from it. Anything else that you want to share with the audience as we wrap up?
Pivoting off what you just said, maybe not taking so long to move up, because even with leadership, I was perfectly happy for 20 years just being a sourcer or recruiter. Well, I could have been started a leadership path 15 years ago, at least. And I didn't want it. But if you're motivated to do that, raise your hand quick, volunteer quick, put yourself out there quick, brand yourself, start putting content out there. Just, move, make big moves, be bold. That's what I would share.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, April, for coming on the podcast. I really appreciate your partnership and the relationship and friendship that we have built. If you want more information, connect with April and all the things that Davis Technology Management is doing within this field. They're doing some incredible things. So I just want to thank you so much to the Davis Technology Group and the whole team there. To the audience, please get involved with the Outbound Recruiting Academy, the Hire Easy community page. And of course, take a look at that recruiting CRM that we just launched. If you have any questions, concerns, anything like that, feel free to reach out to me personally. But again, thank you so much, April, for your time, our discussion, and looking forward to connecting soon.